Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Live Life Golden Show. This is episode 33, road mapping. Oh, something I just totally made up, becoming a conscious creator. So, this is all about watching the energy field, and I'm going to give you the tips and tricks to doing this in your own life experience so that you can start watching energy and start learning how to tune into the way that energy flows and how to manifest more accurately because you're paying attention to how you feel, you're paying attention to your beliefs, and you're paying attention to what you're tuned into because what you focus on expands. So you will manifest things even if you're afraid, even if you don't believe, even if you don't have a strong faith, you will still manifest. The ability for this universe to co-create with you and to allow things to happen that you desire is exponential. It is something that is always writing itself. The universe is always writing itself. So your well-being is assured and things always work out for you. And I'm sure that you can go over your life, unless you're sitting in a lot of like regret and resentment, you can look back over your life and look at the things that have happened that were not optimal and see how they actually worked out for your benefit. See how they actually worked out so that you could show yourself what a powerful creator that you are. See how that they worked out so that it was an invitation for you to heal those triggers, those relationships that called you to a new level within yourself, called you to a new level of worthiness within yourself because you said, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to put up with that anymore. And you put an end to it. So when we call ourselves, when we have these invitations to heal and we take the invitation and we work within it, right? Going within, meditating, releasing energy, becoming more aware, watching our thoughts. When we start to do that, we start to become very powerful creators because we're no longer just creating life by default. We're no longer just allowing life to have its way with us and conducting from something that feels very unconscious. So if you're listening to this podcast, I'm guessing you're waking up because I don't think you'd be here if you were asleep, honestly. So give yourself a little bit of credit just for listening to a show like this that is all about understanding the manifestational capabilities that you have in this life experience, that you're here in this moment right now for a very important and special reason. And this is all about you recognizing that, waking up to that, and becoming more. Okay, so what is road mapping? So I've had a download recently, and I have literally been doing this road mapping thing for a few years. So I'm going to share a couple of my older stories about how I started to really pay attention to the way energy flowed, to the energy that I gave to things, and what happened as I gave energy to things, and then when things really started to flow. Because when you get really good at reading energy and you start to feel the flow of energy and it's based on how you feel and how you're conducting, and then you watch the energy and you start to see the flow, you become so clear. You become so clear about your life path. You become so clear about how you are a part of this, that you are a really important part of what's happening to you. And you take your power back, like solidly take your power back. So it's fun and it's exciting and it's something that I really enjoy talking about. Clearly, I'm on episode 33 and I can honestly probably talk about this forever. So this morning was super cool. I went to Laguna Beach, which is one of my favorite places. I only live about 15 minutes from there. And I had connected with my partner, Jess, in M21 about this guy who does body work and he does fascia work. And I love that kind of stuff. I have some, pain in my body. I've definitely had neck issues for a long time. I have issues in my lower back, from working out. And I've really worked on a lot of this through massage and through stretching and rolling and doing my own things. But, it's not, nothing is fixed. And I definitely struggle with migraines and things like that. So I'm in solution mode always. So like when I hear about like a body worker who's amazing and different and I want to check it out. So this guy's name was Lawrence and he's amazing. He's from South Africa and he spoke my language. Like we just got each other, and apparently I had a car accident when I was like 16 and I was sitting up and I had my seatbelt on and I was forward a little bit, and we actually had a truck dump their load into our lane and we smashed into it going like 60 miles an hour. So from that accident, I had a lot of things that got twisted in my body, like my neck, my sternum, my hips were completely off. My sacral was everything was just not in alignment. So, it's really easy for your muscles to get out of whack. So I've been really committed to massage and things like that for a long time where I'm going, every 2 weeks I do some kind of body work, and it's not getting a fix. So I feel like I'm in the solution, and I feel like this guy is part of really connecting my body, my mind, body, spirit, and I feel whole now. Like I feel more centered and I feel more complete. So that was really cool. And so he said to me, we were talking about Laguna, and I just had this like realization, like I'm going to go to the beach after this, because I was, right down the street from the beach. So I just left his office and walked down to the beach and just sat there and put my feet in the water and the sand. And I was like, oh, this is Monday. This is so cool. And I don't say that to brag. And I don't say that like my life is, better than yours. I say that because it's possible for you too. Like I could have just jumped in my car and gone back home, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm right here. And what a beautiful opportunity to ground and to let the work that he did for me really facilitate, and to just be quiet and just to really take advantage of this day. And it was gorgeous. The sun was shining. It was beautiful. So I did that for about an hour, and then was really excited to share this information with you. So let's hop in. Okay. So, what is road mapping? What is becoming a conscious creator? So, first of all, of course, I'm going to say you have to have a meditation practice. If you need help with this, we just started an M21 Revolution challenge on Facebook. Just search M21 Revolution. It's a free group, donation based challenge. We just started it like 6 days ago. So, perfect way to segue into a 21-day commitment of quieting your mind practice. And we give you lots of tools, and there's lots of guided meditations. Having a meditation practice, the reason why it's so important, I'll say it again, I'll say it probably every show until forever. It creates space. It creates space between your mind and who you truly are. When you create that space between your mind and who you truly are, you start to become aware. You start to become aware of the mind. You start to become aware of the mind's mechanisms and the mind's ability to pull you out of your joy, to pull you out of things to work on problems. The mind's job is to keep you safe and the same. So it does these things like to create dissatisfaction. If you're ever feeling dissatisfied, and you're not really sure why, go up here. See what's going on up there, because most likely there's thoughts that are leading you down this road of worry and anxiety and fear in worst case scenarios, because it keeps you from your expansion and growth. So you've got to separate. And when you separate and you start to come into a field of higher consciousness, that's what you do when you meditate. You're in a field of higher consciousness. You lose your body. And if you haven't gotten there yet, it's okay. You actually have gotten there, and you probably don't know it because you've got breaks of thought that you're not totally aware of because you're not used to the feeling. The other day I was meditating in my room, and my daughter came in and went into my bathroom. I didn't even know she was in the room. Like that's how deep it was. So it's like completely losing losing your body and going into this higher state of consciousness. When you do that, basically you're resetting. You're resetting your foundation, you're resetting your ability to create. In quantum physics, they call it zero state awareness. It's where everything is created from. So you're giving yourself like a clean slate to work with. So what road mapping is it's paying attention to what's going on up here, and paying attention to what's going on up here and what it's invoking in here, because our thoughts always invoke feelings, and then our feelings come into beliefs and judgments, right? So when we have the thoughts, if we're paying attention to those thoughts and paying attention to the way we feel, we've got control. We've got power over where we decide to direct our thoughts and our focus. If you start going down the road of not feeling good about something, you can immediately stop yourself as long as you haven't been in it for too long. Once you drive into the bad neighborhood and you get out of the car, it's a little harder to get away from it. But if you catch it in the beginning, you go, ooh, that thought does not feel good. As long, if it's not a trigger, if it's not a strong, intense, emotional thing, it's just a thought. Like we've got all these thoughts, just those 60,000 thoughts going around, round, round, round. If you catch it in the beginning, you've got a much better chance of redirecting into a different neural pathway. Once you're in the pathway, it's a little bit harder because we get something called momentum going. So, law of attraction works both ways. It works towards the positive, but it also works towards the negative. So, if you're irritated, if you're frustrated, if a whole bunch of bad stuff, this is why people have a bad day, because like one little thing happens in the morning and they get pissed off, and then it just follows the trail to them all day long because they put their set point at pissed off. So then the universe just gives them more and more reasons to feel that way. That's why it's so important to like segment and tend your day and not allow a bad moment to become a bad day or a bad week or a bad year. Oh my goodness, how many people say like that was the worst year ever? And I'm like, so you didn't have any good moments in that year? Come on, people. We're in charge here. It doesn't matter what's going on out there. It's all about what we decide is going on in here and what we decide to create in our own realities. And we are the decision makers. Absolutely. Okay. So, paying attention to your thoughts, aware of your feelings, right? That's the first step. And then the other piece of this is, what energy am I doing this from? Start asking yourself that throughout the day. What energy am I doing this from? Am I in desperation? Am I in fear? Am I in anxiety? Am I in frustration? Am I just trying to click it into place? Am I just trying to push it into place because I just want to get this shit over with? Right? Like, am I in that part where I'm just like, I just got to like muscle through it? I got to push through it. There's no joy in that. There's no high frequency in that. And there's no universal support in that, because if it's to be, it's up to me, does not activate your partnership with the universe, which actually would help to line things up for you much easier and allow that universal flow. And I'm going to share with you what universal flow looks like and how you can tune into it stronger, how you can be a stronger, deliberate, conscious creator. All right. So noticing what happens and what opens up. So this is, you're paying attention. You're really paying attention. So let's say you want to work on something, you want to manifest something. I'm going to give you an example. So many, many years ago, my 20-year-old right now, we were looking for a car for her. She was a couple weeks out from getting her license. We were having issues because I didn't want her driving my Mercedes. I didn't want her learning to drive on my Mercedes. So it was challenging me to teach her how to drive. I also felt like my car was too big for her. It's an SUV, and the way she drove it gave me so much anxiety. It was just not fun. So the idea was, we needed to find her a car as soon as possible so I could teach her on that car, and then that would be her car. So we start looking, and she falls in love with this little Volkswagen Beetle that's like an hour and a half away. That should have been my first indication. So my husband's like, all right, well, we'll go down on a Sunday and we'll go check it out. So our price range was like $5,000. That's what we were willing to spend. So we drive an hour and a half away. We meet this really nice guy. It was his son's car. So he was helping his son sell it. And I forget, his son didn't live here. So we drive it. It's a convertible. Super cute, right? Like super cute. And through the course of like driving it and everything, we realized that one of the airbags is shot. So it's going to be like $250 to fix the airbag. So I'm like, she has to have an airbag. Like the car has to be safe, right? So I think it had had a prior accident, so the title was salvaged, which also isn't good, right? So I tried to negotiate with this kid, and I'm like, look, if I have to get this airbag fixed, it's $250. You got to knock something off the price. He was unwilling to work with me. A couple times we went back and tried to get him to work with us, and he wouldn't work with us. And then I start getting information. So this is what happens with universal co-creation and paying attention to the energy field. I start getting information about, convertibles not being so safe, and, just different things start coming to me about it. Now we're hooked in, we're kind of locked into this car because we want it to happen, right? So we get a little desperate. That's what happens. We get a little desperate with energy. We try to make things happen. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I'm trying this and I'm trying that. And my husband looks at me eventually and says, this is too hard. This isn't supposed to be this hard. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I got to back off. And this was a tendency for me when it came to certain things, when it came to manifesting these big things. I tended to get a little desperate, get a little overexcited. Anybody get overexcited? I'm like an overexciter for sure. I love excitement, but sometimes it can get you into trouble if you're not paying attention. If you're trying to be in this high frequency of yes, this is it, this is it, this is it, you don't factor in something better. That there could be something better when you let go and release your attachment to things and allow the universe to co-create with you. I was trying to do this all on my own. I wasn't calling on the universe for any sort of help at that point. So I end up backing off. And I don't even know if I told him that I might have told him I wasn't interested. I don't remember at that point if I told him I wasn't interested. I probably did. And we start looking again. So I'm on the Facebook, looking at cars on Facebook, and I see this little Honda CRV, and I show it to her. Now it's a little bit out of our price range. This is the other thing that happens with the universe is sometimes we got to up level. This happened to me with our house too, and I'll tell you that story. So you got to up level a little bit, and you got to take yourself like out of that like constricted place of like we can only have it this way. So it was like 6,900, I think, for the car, 6,995 or something. So we start talking about it, and I start messaging with the lady, and it had just gone up, and it was like a really good car, like a super good car, and my daughter loved it. She was like, yes, it's really cute. So the lady lives like over an hour away, and she messages me and she says, can you meet tomorrow? I can meet you halfway. Well, to me, that's universal flow. That's universal support. It's becoming easier. It's not going to be as hard as I thought. And that was one of the easiest car transactions I've ever had. In fact, I'm still friends with this lady on Facebook. She's amazing. My daughter loved the car. We still have the car. My little one drives it now. So I watched the universe and the flow of the energy. I mean, even down to registering the car. We went to AAA. It was so easy. Switched over the plates, and it was just like ease and flow. Did we have to spend a little bit more money? Yes, we did, because there were other people interested, because it was a great car. It was worth it. It was totally worth it. So we had to up level a little bit in respect to, all right, we got to call ourselves to more. That's what more money is. That's what spending more money is sometimes. It's calling yourself to more. It's calling yourself to faith. This isn't about like spending money you don't have. We had the money. It was about activating from that energy of faith and trust in knowing that all things were working out for us. So that's what we did. And she ended up with the car, and it was a great experience, a wonderful experience. Had we gotten the other car, there probably would have been a lot of problems. But see, the universe steps in and doesn't necessarily let you get yourself in too much trouble, especially if you're paying attention. So it's important to pay attention where you're coming from, where this is coming from. So when we came to this house, we were living in a house before this one. It was our first house in California after our apartment. And that house had come really interestingly. When we were in the apartment, um, I didn't want to live there anymore. I lasted 1 year in an apartment, and I thought it was going to be amazing. It was like kind of a resort, had a gym and a pool, and just, felt real resorty. But apartments are very condensed living with lots of people, and loud mufflers and speed bumps, and just like, what else do they do? Leaf blowing and trimming the bushes and garbage trucks, and just a lot of energy, like too much energy for this girl. So our apartment was beautiful. It was a really nice, wonderful place to land, but I was ready to go. So our year was coming up. I think we had about a week left, and I could not find a house. And I wanted to be in a house. I was done being in an apartment, and I couldn't find the right house. So through a friend of a friend, we found this house and ended up renting it, and it was fine. It was a fine house. It wasn't my dream house, but it was a fine house. It was a good stepping stone to where we are today. So, through the course of living in that house, we lasted a year in that house. We had some issues with the landlady, and she was very difficult. She was a very challenging person. We had a toilet overflow that caused a lot of damage, and I ended up having to like really kind of like GC this job and get the house fixed. And then she just got really upset with us about it, and didn't understand accidents, and she just got a little cray cray. So we had 2 weeks left to move out of that house. And she basically told us like she would not re-sign a lease for us. So we had to get out. So it always kind of seems like that. It's like, oh, we're up against it again. Here we go. So I start looking at houses like crazy. And I actually met one of my very best friends. If you've ever seen me on Facebook with Diane, this is how I met Diane. This is the story of me meeting Diane. So I go to this open house. I fall in love with this house. It is not the house I live in. This is what happens to me. I get overexcited. So I fall in love with this house and they won't take my cats. So I like write up this whole letter about the cats and how wonderful the cats are and how I'll give extra money for the cats. And I put a picture of my family in. I put all this information about my husband being a general contractor that will take care of the house like it's our own. And we don't get the house. I meet Diane at this open house and we're both in love with this cute house, right? And so she's trying to get me to get this house. And then she feels so bad that they said no, that she's like, come on, I'm going to take you. We're going to find a house. So she must have looked at 20 houses with me. She's so amazing and became a very close friend of mine ever since. And we're both from Connecticut. How crazy is that? So we're looking. I'm like, Diane, it's not it. It's not it. It's not it. It's like either it wouldn't have the right garage for Mike to pull into, or it didn't have a driveway, or like it just everything. So this is what happens, right? Watching the energy field. Every house made it clearer and clearer for what I wanted. So I wrote a list. I still have this list. The only thing I don't have is the pool, but that's coming with the next one. So I wrote down everything we wanted, everything we needed, right? And we keep looking and looking and looking. So finally she says, oh, I've got this house. And she shows me the pictures. There's barely any pictures. There's like a picture of the kitchen, a picture of the tree outside, and a picture of the closet. That's it. That's all they're showing. And it's $600 over my price range. This is what I'm talking about. We got to up level. So interestingly, we had some issues paying rent in that other house. And so up leveling another $1,000, it was actually $1,000 more to move into this other house. It felt a little like, whew. Luckily, I was working with an energy healer at that time, and she was like, you're going to have to up level. Like, you guys are moving into a new place. You're moving into a different state of your abundance, and it's time for you to step up, right? Calling more life through us. We have never had trouble paying our rent in this house. We've been here for 4 years. So I remember pulling up the road, and I was like, oh, this is a really super cute neighborhood. I'd been here before because our daughter's friend lives in this neighborhood. And I was like, what a cute neighborhood. No speed bumps. Thank you, Jesus. And just a cute, like sweet houses and spacious. The houses are spaced, well enough apart. That was another thing because we're from the East Coast. We're used to our space. So she comes out of the house. I'll never forget this. And she goes, I think this is the one. And I was like, really? You think? Because it's a lot more money. Like, I don't know how I'm going to talk my husband into this. So I come up the driveway, I walk in the house, and I open the door, and it's like angels are singing. Like the flooding of the light. It was an open floor plan, which I had wanted so bad and I had not found in any other house. Sunshine coming in, the view. That was one thing my husband really wanted, was he wanted an amazing view because we had like a beautiful canyon view in our last place. And this is like we can see the whole city from our house, and from our bedroom it's like we feel like the king and queen. So we see like 11 fireworks displays from our house. Like that's how good the view is. So it's just gorgeous. It's just everything that I wanted except for the pool. So we walk through the house and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So now keep in mind, I already have the energy is already created for this. I already have the letter about my family. I have the stuff about my husband. I have the stuff about our cats. So I send all that stuff over to this landlady and I offer her less. Yeah, ballsy move, right? I offer her like $600 less. And she takes it. She loved the fact that my husband was a contractor. The actual landlord lives in Japan, and this is his mother-in-law that property manages this place. Beautiful, amazing, sweet, and loving woman. Like, I so earned this beautiful landlady. I'm not even kidding you. So she accepts, and then we write up all the paperwork, we sign the lease and everything, and we're moving in. Like, this is crazy. This is happening. Like, we're moving in a week. And she comes back and she says to me, Now, there was a part of this story that I left out, which is right before this happened, I had done a session with my energy healer and I had to let go. And she said, you have to stop going to every single house and thinking it's going to be the one. And instead, going like you are mapping, like you are writing your clarity of focus. You're getting clearer. Everyone is getting you closer to that one. So I had shifted the energy right before this and I had released all the desperation. And this up leveled my faith big time, because I saw what happened. So like the next day we came here. Like the next day this house happened. So we write up the offer and everything, and then she comes back to us and she says, my friend Diane calls me and she goes, she wants an extra security deposit because our credit was still a little wonky. It was good, like we had brought it back from a really really horrible place, so it was good, but it wasn't excellent. So she's like, she's not really sure. And the lease is already signed. So I'm like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're a couple days from moving. So I said, hell no. I said, absolutely not. Because every time we've ever had a security deposit, we've had issues getting it back. So I knew. Now they wanted $8,000 of our money. And I said, hell no. And Diane was like, are you sure? And my husband was like, I can pull it out. We can find it. We can get it. And I said, no, this house is mine. Like, I had such a freaking knowing. And thank God I didn't know all of the details of this. But so they said fine. Eventually they just said fine. We ended up moving in. We ended up meeting her. She was a beautiful woman. To this day, I adore her. We have great conversations, and we just totally take care of the house, and they love that. And so she told me on the day that we moved in that she had two other people that were interested, that they had thought about it, and one was like two couples that wanted to move in together, and then another one, they had little kids, and they have little kids, so they know the destruction little kids. So, and they loved that Mike was a carpenter. So the fact that I put that letter in there, that heartfelt letter about our family and how we love things like they're our own, that was what the first place did for me, was to set up that energy for this place. So you don't necessarily know where it's going, but this was way better than that first house that I was so in love with. Way better. To the fact that we have been here for 4 years. So, it's like when you find something you love, why not? And we still say it. I even said it last night. Like, I love this house. I love this house. It's like, it's ours. It feels like ours. So pay attention to the energy field and pay attention when things aren't lining up. It means that there's something better for you. It means that it's time to back away. It means that it's time to give the universe the space to co-create with you. It means that it needs time to physically manifest. I don't even know. I believe this house was on the market they had tried to sell it for like $1 million. Yeah, I live in $1 million house. They had tried to sell it and it didn't sell, and it had been on the market since May, and we started renting in August. So I knew that gave me a little bit of leverage, but that time is so interesting, right? For it to manifest when it did. And the fact that I looked at like 25 houses before that just gave me such a vision that when I walked into this home, I knew it. I felt it. And people say that, when you really know something is your home, when you really know you belong somewhere. And I would say that was true when we moved to Aliso, the town that we're in. I felt home. I definitely felt home. Okay, so moving forward with our road mapping. Okay, so when things are hard, you got to back off. You got to create the space and you got to work on letting it go. When you let it go, you get in receiving mode. When you relax, you get in receiving mode. That's when the universe can create with you. That's when the energies can come in and show you where to go next. If you're trying to bang it into place, if you're coming from desperation, if you're holding on too tight, you're going to slow the energy fields down. It's still going to manifest. It's just going to be harder and it's going to come slower. So trust and faith are your hugest factors. I can't even tell you the knowing that I had when it came to this house. There was a knowing there that goes beyond the physical. And if I had known there were other people interested, would that have messed with me? I don't know. That wasn't my story. I didn't need that to be part of my story. I just needed to move forward and create what was best for my family. And that's exactly what I did. Forcing will always make the energy denser. So understand that anytime you're trying to force, anytime you're in, an angst, anytime you're in anxiety or worry or fear, what you're doing is you're dragging the energy down. So think about this quantum physics. You have a thought, you have a feeling, it comes out into a wave, right? As you connect with those feelings, the knowing, the trusting, the faith, that energy moves fast and it starts to break down and it becomes particles that become matter, that become physical. If you are in fear, anxiety, angst, worry, desperation, what you're doing is you're slowing that wave way down so that, then things are manifesting at the 11th hour. And I've been there manifesting through a lot of chaos and I'm not a fan. So that's why I got so good at this energy reading because I was like, I am sick of creating this way. This sucks. Like, I don't want to be up against it anymore. I want to be in trust and faith. I want to co create with the universe and watch the energy flow. It's so much more fun. There's so much more joy in it, and there's so much more power in it. So, release your confusion. The way to release your confusion. So, like, if you're confused about something, let's say you have a choice, like, you've got to decide between, this house and this house, right? And you're kind of confused about it and you're a little bunged up about it. You got to go into meditation. You got to quiet your mind. You got to start asking yourself what you feel like, what feels better, what decision feels better. And then you got to back off and allow the energy to show you what's next. It will show you where to go next. You will know by flow. Oh, that's a good statement. You will know by flow. So watch the flow. When things are starting to flow, then you know. Oh my God, I'm like Dr. Seuss today. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Where are we going here? Let me see what was next from that. Yeah, so asking what your highest excitement is a really cool way to co-create with the universe. So if you're like kind of confused and you don't know what to do next, ask yourself like what would bring me the highest excitement? What would bring me the deepest sense of satisfaction? If the answer is do nothing, cool. Go meditate, create space. That's doing something. Believe it or not, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything, but you're doing a lot because you're putting yourself in receiving mode and you're telling the universe, I trust you. I trust that we're in this together and I know this is all going to work out. So just let me relax. Let me calm myself. Let me get into peace. Let me get into trust. Let me activate my intuition. Let me turn up the volume of my intuition. That's what you do when you meditate. You turn down the voice of the ego, the mind, and you turn up the volume of the intuition, which is what they call that still small voice. We want to make that voice louder. We want it to tell us what's up and where to go and who to call and what to do. And we want to trust in that voice. And when we do trust in that voice and we start to see the energy moving, that's when we get super excited. So we are human beings, not human doings. And we have been told and programmed and given this bag of goods that says we constantly have to do. And we got to set goals and we got to go out and make them happen. Now there's some of you on this podcast that need this right now. You need that inspiration. You need that movement of energy. You need to do something with your freaking life. There's some of you out there. I know, because you've got gifts and talents that you're being called to, and every day you put them aside. Every day you let that monkey mind talk you out of them. So you got to move forward. You got to find a way to move past the fear and start moving forward. Others of you who are constantly moving, who are never taking the time to quiet your mind, who are always in movement because you don't want to deal with your emotional field, you are not creating deliberately. You are creating by default because you're not taking the time to heal. You're not taking the time to feel. And you got to feel. If you want to know what your vibrational connection is, if you want to know what your vibrational alignment is, you got to get into your feelings. You got to understand where you're coming from. You got to get really aware of what's going on in here to understand what's happening out here. Does that make sense? Because everything that's happening out here is what you have going on within. It's all a reflection, baby. I know. Oh, shit. Okay. So, following your dreams. We're going to talk about following your dreams. So, when you take the time to be, when you take the time to allow the energy to co-create with you, you get into this really beautiful flow. You get into receiving mode, you get into listening to your intuition, and you start to see the energy moving in your favor. That is such a beautiful thing. I love seeing flow. Oh, I have a quick story. This ring right here, such a cool ring, right? So, and it matches my nail polish. I got this little gold design. Super excited. I have a new nail lady. Love her so much. So, we were in San Clemente the other day and shopping, and I saw this in the window, and I was like, "Oh, that's so pretty. I want to go in when they're open." So they opened, and we went in, and I tried it on, and it was too small. I like my middle finger to have a ring on it. So, the lady was like, "Oh, well, you can take it down the street," and I was kind of like, "Oh." She can get it, you can get it size. It costs $12 more. And I was like, I don't know. And then she goes, "Oh, I found your size." And I go, that's flow. And I love it. It's so comfy and it's so pretty. I just love it. So that was flow. And it made me feel like, yeah, I should buy it. I'm definitely going to buy it because that was the universe just hooking me up and going, yeah, this is good. We got this. We don't have to go through all that stuff. Like, I don't want to drop it off and then I got to go back and get it. And it just felt like, no, if there's no flow, then I'm not forcing, right? So stop forcing everything to happen. Stop forcing everything to happen on your agenda. This is your agenda. However, there is a co-creative energy that we've got to connect with if we want it to be more ease and flow. If we want to step out of feeling like we have to be in control, that we've got to have, we got to be powerful. Whenever we're coming from that state of like, I have to exert my power over people, you're in a bullying state. You're in a bullying state. You're trying to force things to happen and you're not going to feel flow. If you do this, that's when I talk about being like a disciplinarian or a dictatorship, when you're barking out orders to people. That's not flow. That's not communication. That's not co creation. If we want life to be beautiful and easy and flowing, we've got to be in partnership with people, with the universe, with energy, and with ourselves. Okay. So, in order to really exude, is that a word? Exert. In order to exert, I could make up words. You guys don't even know, right? It's a Live Life Golden show. It's Live Life Golden world. I can make up words if I want. In order to exert the energy or to put out the energy of co-creation and really being powerful, it means we don't have to prove shit. We don't have to prove that we're powerful. We don't have to put our power over people because we trust that what we want is manifesting. So we don't have to make it happen. We don't have to force it to happen. We can just energetically align with it. How do you energetically align with something? Okay, so this is all about like following your dreams and connecting and aligning with the energies of what you're looking to manifest. So that's identity creation. Who do I want to be? What do I have to do to connect with the energy of the person who's already living that? I got to chill out, first of all, because in order to be a wonderful and truly powerful manifester, I can't be full of angst. I can't be full of worry and I can't be full of fear. I can't be full of distrust of the universe and of myself. I have to trust. And how do I trust? Well, I can remember the last 20 things I manifested. I can remember how far I've come. I can give myself, a little credit for what I've done so far. Oh, yeah, I did that. I mean, we so often forget the stuff that we've done and manifested. And if we can remind ourselves, a lot of times that will soothe us into the place of knowing our power once again. So when we're looking to manifest or if we're looking to follow a dream, we've got to ask ourselves those questions. Who would I be? Who would I be? Would I be super confident in myself or would I pay the extra $8,000? No, I'd be super confident. That's my house. That was pretty much that's what I said to Diane because she was like, "Oh, are you sure?" And I go, "That's my house. That is my house. I already signed the lease. They already accepted it. So what are we doing? We're ready to move in. I got boxes packed. Let's go." Right? Don't you take no for an answer after you already decided it was yours. Um, So study your own life. Okay. So you can move when you feel called, right? You can move when you feel your heart is calling. You can wait until things get really bad and you just get so sick of it that you create a leap of faith. That's what happened to us when we moved to California. We got that foreclosure paper in the mail and we were just like, I don't want to live like this anymore. This is insane. Like, this is not fun. We want to move. Let's go. Let's create a plan. Until we created a plan, nothing came because we were sitting in the energy of waiting. I mean, I think we were in expectation. I think there was some expectation. But once we set the plan in place, whoo, that's when the energy moved. And it moved fast. It was February to June. Boom. And that was, 4 years of thinking about moving. So we had to wait until it got really bad. We had to wait until it felt like we weren't going to have a choice. We personally wanted to be fully lined up with the energies before we came. I remember I had this beautiful friend before we left, and she said, you don't want to get there before the party has started. You want to get there when the party is like kicking off, when things are getting fun. That's alignment. It's being ready. It's getting ready to be ready. So once we set that plan in place, so don't sit in the energy of waiting, sit in the energy of excited expectation and what can I do to create more of that identity. Remember, I was meditating on the ocean waves. I was seeing shit. Notice, study your life. Notice what's going on around you. I saw, 7 license plates in a day from California. I would see t-shirts. I'd walk into stores and there would be California t-shirts. You can't make this shit up. It was like everything was California, California, California. I'm like, it's happening. The alignment is happening. And every moment that would happen, every manifestation, those are all manifestations, would tell me, yes, it's happening. It's coming. It's just keep going. Just keep going. Keep being excited. Keep trusting. Keep moving forward. And then set that plan in place. So when you study your own life, you're going to be able to reflect. Notice what happens when you manifest. Notice what, watch watch the energy field because the energy is going to tell you what the next steps are. And boom, then it's going to happen. So we recently wanted to go. I had a great manifestation from my beautiful best friend. And we recently were talking about Sebastian, the comedian, and wanting to go see him. And we couldn't get tickets. Like we tried, and we were going to do a weekend away because he doesn't come super close to Orange County as we thought. So my girlfriend had gone to see him. She said he was amazing. He was so funny. So I went online. I looked for tickets. Sold out. Sold out. Sold out. So I'm like, I guess it's not going to happen. So then my husband comes home the other day and he says, by the way, I have clients that love Sebastian so much. Like they follow him everywhere and they're in like his VIP group. So they find out where he's going to be. And they were at the Spectrum, which is like 15 minutes from me. There's a comedy club there. And apparently, Sebastian's podcast partner was doing a show there, and Sebastian came out as a surprise. What? I'm like, that is so cool. So we're like talking about that and how fun that is and how cool. And I'm like, I really want to go see him. I really do. So yesterday I manifested tickets. She bought me tickets. So how cool is that? So we're going to go see Sebastian in March in LA. So whoa, yay, manifest. I love manifesting. It's so cool. So I didn't have a lot of angst about it. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I can't ever go or it's never going to happen or I can't get tickets. I just thought, I really want to go. That sounds fun. That sounds exciting. He's so funny. I just find him really funny. Him and the other comedian I love, which you should check out, is Leanne Morgan. And I think she's one of the reasons why I have a Southern accent sometimes because I just think it makes things funnier. But she is hysterical. If she ever comes to California, I'm definitely going to go see her. So check her out. She's on YouTube. No, she's on Instagram and Facebook. I see her. Leanne Morgan. She's really funny. All right. So where are we? Pay attention. Create through deliberate intention. So this is something that we've been doing in my groups that's really amazing. And this happened to me like the other night. I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning. I don't know if I shared this because I share so many things in so many places, but I woke up at 2:30 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. So I was up basically from 2:30 and I never went back to sleep. So I'm laying there and my daughter's running up and down the hallway and my husband starts snoring and I start, getting that angsty feeling of just like not being able to sleep. And so I just laid there. And one thing I love to do in the middle of the night, and this is a good idea for all of my fellow meditators out there, is to lay on your back and to get yourself in a meditative state. So you just breathe and you work on clearing your mind. And I started to go into gratitude because I was like, if I wake up like this, my day is it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a rough day if I get out of bed feeling this way. So I just intended high frequency appreciation, love. I love laying here. It feels so good to rest my body. I love that I can get up and go to the gym and work out. And I just started like, tuning into all those frequencies. I love that my daughter's doing something I asked her to do, even if it's in the middle of the night. So worked on appreciation. And then by the time I got up, I was feeling great. And I ended up not even napping that day. I felt so good. I didn't tally how much sleep I got. I didn't tell anybody that I was up all night. So this is the thing. Like we carry our shit around with us and we feel like we got to share it with everybody, right? Like we want that resonance. We want to connect with our misery loves company kind of a thing. So when we drag that stuff with us and we complain and complain and complain all day long, we activate more of it. And then our physical body goes, oh, she's telling everybody she's tired. Oh, she's telling everybody she didn't sleep all night. So your energy starts to drag because of what you're telling your physical body. So be really careful about what you're saying and how you're greeting the day and what you're intending for your day. So this is what we do. It's called the mastery of focus. And you kind of lay there in the morning or you do this during your meditation and you just ask, what is my intention for the day? What is the energy that I want to feel throughout my day the most? I want to feel peace. I intend for peace today. Give me more reasons to feel this beautiful peace that I know I have within. And then watch what happens. Watch the energy field. I intend to be awake to magic and miracles. Ooh, wait till you see what happens. And it may not come as you think. Like magic and miracles could be a butterfly flying across I saw one at the beach today and I was like, oh, was so great because I was aware, because I was paying attention, right? So setting those mastery of focus ideas, the deciding, the being determined to feel those things is going to conduct more of them for you. So how do you know if you're in desperation? This is how you know. If you're creating from desperation, this is how you know. You know by how you feel. You know by how heavy the energy feels. You know by how stressed out you are. Do you know that stress is a complete conduction of the mind? Stress is a complete conduction of the mind and a limited perspective of your situation and often paves the pathway to worst case scenarios. That's what stress is. Stress is always focusing on what you don't want, what you don't want, what you don't want, what you don't want. And when you do that, you activate more reasons to feel that way. And that's why you're like, I'm so stressed out. I can't handle this anymore. And that's why. So you'll know too by what's happening if it's getting worse or harder, you are not in the flow of the universe and it's time to back off. That is your indication that it's time to back off and it's time to get in expectation, excited expectation. I can't wait to see what's going to manifest from this and just backing up and then watching the energy field and following it in order for you to manifest. Okay. All right. So this is something I did the other day. I want to put this at the end of this. I just want to give you like a little indication of it. I may do a whole show on addiction, but for now, I just want to, I want to be like authentic and real and honest about my own journey. So I was in a body fat competition for 6 weeks, did great, didn't drink alcohol at all. So I've had some real solid breaks from alcohol through the past 2 years of my life. I did 100 days right when COVID started. I did 100 days, which I think I'm really glad I did. Ended up slowly coming back to it like every weekend. And I watched the slippery slope with alcohol. And I'm very in tuned and very aware to what it does to my body and have not given it up completely yet. And, that's to be determined. I'm not sure what's going to happen. my husband and I both, come from families where alcohol was a huge part of our experience. Him, he had a lot of people that were recovering alcoholics, and me not so much. So, we've had a relationship with alcohol, and we've been very aware of like where we go with it. So I didn't drink for a long time, and then the last 2 weekends I did, and I noticed it was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is basically half your week. You think, oh, I'm only drinking on the weekends, but it's basically half your week, right? So I decided after Halloween and just feeling like, oh, I just don't want to, like, my sleep is screwed up, and I'm really aware of the lower, denser feelings after drinking. Like, alcohol is a suppressant, or depressant. And so when you drink, you feel good and you feel better. But then when you wake up in the morning, you're either going to have anxiety or you're going to have low vibrational thoughts. I've watched it. I've watched the energy for a long time on this. So so I made a decision. I'm like, that's it. November 1st, sober November, whatever, sober October, whatever, sober November works for me. My trainer was like, is that a thing? I'm like, well, I'm making it a thing. Right. So this weekend, so what I've noticed too is when I drink, so I get cravings. I get cravings for alcohol. I get cravings for sugar. It kind of opens up a whole little monster inside of me. So then I noticed this weekend, like Friday, I was struggling. Like, Friday night, it's Friday night. What are you doing? Do you really want to do this? So I had to continually just be like, nope, not right now. And I have some friends that I inbox with on some of my sober groups, and, got me through it, got me through my Friday night. And then Saturday, once again. So Saturday, I ended up doing this, a road mapped. So I went to the moment that I decided that I was going to have sober November. At that moment, I was disgusted. I felt gross. I didn't sleep that whole night. I didn't sleep. I attribute it to alcohol detoxing out of my body. That's what happens a lot if you can't sleep. If you drink, because I usually don't drink like Monday to Thursday, then by Tuesday, I was up all night. You didn't sleep, you didn't feel good, you woke up feeling groggy, your workout sucked, the whole thing. So I road mapped and I went through, I got myself back in that moment, and I was like, oh yeah, yep, yep, yep. So it made me feel stronger. It put me in a stronger foundation. Then I took myself past how I was going to feel if I did it. Okay. This is how you get rid of addictions. This is how you get rid of emotional detaching from things that are calling to you, that your mind is trying to get you to crave, that your mind is trying to get you to go back to keep you safe and the same. So I took myself past it. Well, if I did, right? Like, my husband and I went out to dinner last night. He doesn't care. He's like, if you have a glass of wine, whatever, right? I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to do anything. But I'm like, my integrity to self. Like, I teach this stuff. I teach how to be, have integrity and keep promises. If I can't keep promises to myself, who can I keep them to? So I took myself past that, and the disappointment that I would have in myself, and the inauthenticity if I didn't tell people. I got people that I'm accountable to now, and especially myself. I'm more accountable to myself than anybody else. So I didn't do it. And I'm super proud. And I knew I would be proud. I took myself past the moment to this moment, to waking up today feeling like, whew, I got through the first weekend. Usually I'm pretty good after this, because it's like, I swear to you, it's like alcohol puts, and maybe you don't have this. Maybe this doesn't happen to you. Maybe it's just my path and the way I grew up and the belief systems. And there is a social programming involved in alcohol that is really enlightening. If you want to know more about that, Kick the Drink Easily by Jason Vale really, really helped me to understand. I also read another one about, I think, Alcohol Lied to Me. That was a good one too. Just about the poisonous effects of alcohol and basically what you're doing to your body. So am I giving it up? No, but I am for now. Definitely November. I'm going to be clear. I'm going to be focused, and I'm considering doing it for the rest of the year. So that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit about the shit that I deal with. And I'm doing better than I ever have. I'll tell you that. Like, this has been an ongoing process. My husband and I talked about this. Like, I have, had this thing with alcohol for a long time where I have this calling to give it up. But then there's something there that's just like, I think part of the reason that I don't completely give it up is because I do feel those moments of like, I'm depriving myself. And there are moments where alcohol does enhance your situation. So, my understanding is whatever you're feeling when you start drinking. So, if you're stressed, if you're frustrated, if you're aggravated, and you start drinking alcohol, it's going to manifest as that because that's the vibration you're coming into it at. If you're super happy and super joyful and you have a drink, you most likely probably won't get wasted because I never get wasted. It's not something I'm interested in. But if you just have a drink or two, it's going to actually kind of lighten and make you feel more joy and more silly and more fun. So I'm not condoning alcohol. I'm not saying that you should drink, but those are the understandings that I have. So sometimes for me, it's all right. The part I don't like about it, and this is the same thing with any addiction that you have to a substance or to an activity, is when it takes over and I don't feel like I'm in the driver's seat. Like I will say, okay, that's it. I'm not going to do it, like over like I'll be like, okay, well, I would really like it not to be 3 days of the weekend. And then I do it 2 weekends in a row. I'm like, oh, hang on a second. You're not in control like you thought you were. So we got to back up. We got to chill, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm chilling. So more to come on that, I'm sure, as I roadmap my life situation with alcohol. But let me know if you guys have questions. I have on my website, livelifegolden.com, I have Quantum Speak and I have Quantum Speak for Parents, both awesome books about manifesting. If you reach out to me, I will give you a little channeled message and send you a copy for $25. I do that through Venmo or Zelle or PayPal or whatever works for you. And I also have a meditation teaching on there. You can also join M21 Revolution on Facebook. We have a beautiful community of people there. It's such a great group. I really love it. So my partner Jess and I, she's into like yoga. She's got yogic philosophy. She's also an athlete. She's a coach to athletes, triathlons. She's amazing. She offers so much, and I offer a lot. So together we kind of make this beautiful team, and we're always in alignment. And so this challenge is all about peace, tuning into the frequency of peace, because we believe people really need that right now. We really believe people need to tune out of the frequencies of the stuff that is causing so much angst and fear and tune into the frequency of peace, love, and joy, which is where we truly belong. It's where our well-being is assured, and it's where we're going to stop giving our power away and take our power back. So if you're feeling a lot of angst and stress and things like that, look at what you're putting in your diet. And by diet, I don't just mean food. I mean everything. Look at what you're ingesting. Look at what you're watching. Look at what you're talking about. Look at what you're focused on throughout your day, because that is what conducts. So if it doesn't feel good and it feels like it's creating a lot of fear and anxiety in your life, you got to tune it out. And I know you want to be prepared and it's like you want to prepare for the worst case scenarios, but that's not really the best way to be a powerful creator. That's really the way to create the opposite of what you're looking to create. So let's not do that. All right. Okay. You can find me at Live Life Golden on Instagram. I'm starting to do some videos. They're getting me to do videos. My little media company, my wonderful media company is getting me to do videos. So I'm going to start popping in there and giving you some tips through the day. And let me know if there's a subject that you want me to talk about, if there's something you need addressing or shifting. I love that. My groups bring me a lot of stuff. And through my teachings with my groups, you guys get a lot of benefit because we're all in this together. We're all expanding and growing. And I absolutely love that you're here. Thank you for all the love and appreciation. My heart has been overflowing lately. I've been very, just incredibly blessed by the people in my life. I am surrounded by just uplifters and people who are encouraging me and telling me to keep going. And it makes a difference. It really does. It makes a difference for me. And it helps me to just know that this is working and that what I have here and what I want to share with you, I feel so like I have such a mission when I get up every day to share this with people because it has made a profound effect in my life. And now I'm seeing it with other people. And that is probably the most thrilling thing you can do is watch other people listen to what you say, take the information, and create peace, love, and joy in their own lives. That's how we're going to flip it. That's how we're going to flip the world to peace, love, and joy, one person at a time, right? this information, applying it in your life, becoming more joyful, setting your frequency higher, you're going to have an effect. It's a ripple effect. It's the golden effect. Ha! Peace, babies. Love ya.